So it's been a while since I've analyzed YouTube on this channel, so I figured I would just come and sort of give an update on how things are going, as well as tell you something that's been on my mind for a while, and that is the hardest thing about running a YouTube channel. So I have mentioned a few times before that it can be hard to keep a channel going on forever, because every time you create a new video, that means that you have to come up with a unique, individual idea for that video. And now if you do some sort of series, especially if it's like reacting to new content that comes out, then you can keep going on as long as that content keeps coming out. However, if you were doing some sort of like educational or video essay kind of thing, you are probably going to run out of things to talk about at some point. I mean, even if you are the biggest expert on a certain topic and you made a video series trying to teach everything you know, like eventually you are just going to reach a point where you have said everything you know, and then anything past that is just going to be repeating yourself. You know, when you're following a TV series, there's a start and there's an end. Like every show is going to get canceled eventually. But when it comes to YouTube, it's just you start and then you just keep going until you either go crazy or you just get tired of it and you just want to be done with it. And especially if you're ever trying to make some sort of like commentary or documentary or educational kind of channel, you also have to think about like, is there anything that I can say that hasn't already been said 1,000 other times on YouTube? And the longer that YouTube continues to live on, the more saturated every single topic will be. So there have actually been times in the past where I'm like, oh, I should make a video on a certain topic. Let me search on YouTube to see if other people have already kind of talked about, you know, maybe get a few ideas from them and then just see where I go from there. And then I search it, and there's already a dozen other channels, some of which have made like an hour-long video going over way more detail than you could possibly input. And then you're just like, okay, maybe I'm a little late and I probably won't go through the effort of talking about this then. And I mean, I know it's okay for there to be more than one YouTube video on any given subject. And sometimes I will still talk about certain subjects if I feel like there's a few things I want to add to the discussion. But it's just that when YouTube is so saturated, it can be so hard to really stand out in any way. Now, I'm not coming out and saying that this is the end of this channel or that I'm canceling it or anything. But I have been working on a few other projects that I have some interesting things to talk about too. But when it comes to actually analyzing YouTube, I feel like there hasn't been a whole lot that's changed. I mean, there was the whole thing of them removing dislikes, which I talked about, which definitely go get the extension to bring them back if you haven't already. But just as a response to YouTube doing that, where they wanted to get rid of people dislike bombing videos, to anyone who can still see dislikes, you will know that most of the channels that were getting dislike bombed before are still getting it. So to the people at YouTube that wanted to be able to censor people's opinion, nice try. But something that's actually been going a lot better, I would say, is demonetization. So you guys probably all know that a few years ago I came out making a list of every word that will get you demonetized. And it was a big spectacle that blew up all over the internet, and lots of people were looking at it thinking, why are all of these harmless words getting you demonetized? And I think that a lot of that has been improved, and it has gotten a lot better since then. So if you've paid attention to the spreadsheet of the demonetized word list, you'll notice that the list of demonetized words has gotten smaller and smaller. It's mostly just cut off a lot of the words that shouldn't have been there in the first place. And even for me, who runs multiple channels and uploads pretty regularly all the time about all kinds of different subjects, I hardly ever actually see my videos actually get demonetized anymore. Now, I'm not saying that the whole system is completely perfect now, but I do feel like it is easier to stay monetized and not get dinged for tiny little pointless things. But that also means that I don't spend a whole lot of time working on it anymore. I don't know if anyone really cares at this point. I mean, I'm definitely not offended by all the people that have stopped following my Patreon for it, considering, I mean, I don't have much else to offer other than just keep working on the list. But even then, it's slowed way down. Not very many people are using it. I'm not working on it that often anymore. Maybe I'll leave this as an open invitation if anybody wants to message me to try to figure out what we could do with it from this point on, or if anyone else thinks that they might want to take it over, maybe we could work something out. Now, a lot of people have reached out, and I've also considered changing the channel into some kind of like channel review content. You know, taking a look at a certain creator and figuring out why they blew up or why their channel died. You know, you've probably seen the channel Sunny V2 do stuff like that. However, I don't know that I could ever really do that, because something you really have to understand about that kind of content is that you have to completely obsess over the person that you are talking about when you make videos like that. I'm saying like, oh, let me make a video about why Jake Paul's content doesn't get as many views as before. Well, you know what you have to do? You basically get to go binge watch all of his content. You have to be researching all of the social media posts and all of the drama that goes on to learn everything about this person to be able to make a 15-minute video about it. And I've only ever done that type of video maybe one time. I did a video about PewDiePie a few years ago, and even though I do kind of like his content, even just binge watching all of his stuff for a week, it was just too much for me. But now let me tell you about a few other projects that I've been working on YouTube, and I've been learning quite a bit. So some of you may have found that I have a YouTube channel for my cat. I just wanted to kind of test out the shorts feature and just sort of like figure out how the whole algorithm works. And I might make a full video on YouTube Shorts, but it does seem like the algorithm for shorts is way different than it is in normal videos. Because if you just look at the view counts of all of the cat videos I have on there, some of them have like 40 views, and a couple of them have 40,000 views. So it sort of seems like it just latches on to videos that it really likes and then just feeds it to tons of people. But other than that, the other thing I've been trying to work on is trying to revive a channel that died a few years ago. And I'll probably make a video on that too if I end up succeeding, because there's something really difficult about trying to rebuild a channel's reputation once it's lost all of its viewers. Like, not just its reputation with people, but the reputation with the algorithm to get them to recommend you again. But if for whatever reason you've missed seeing me in videos, just look up Imagine If the Internet Was Real, because I'm uploading plenty to that right now. But anyway, this is just kind of a short update I felt like throwing out there because I haven't uploaded to this channel in a few months. And I am curious, to all of the people that watch that run their own YouTube channels, how are things going for you right now? Does it seem like it's much easier to not get demonetized now? Are there any weird things about the algorithm that are just throwing you off? Just let me know in the comments and maybe I'll look into it and try to make more videos about it.